Welcome to English Storycraft.
The Book Club. In a small, quiet town, there was a book club. Every Wednesday evening, a group of friends met at the local library. The library was a warm place, with tall shelves full of books and big windows that let in the sunlight during the day. The book club was started by Mrs. Thompson, the librarian. She loved books and wanted to share her love with others. There were 5 members in the book club. First, there was Mrs. Thompson, who always chose the books they read. Then there was Emily, a young woman who loved adventure stories. Next was Mr. Brown, an older man who liked to read history books. Sarah was a teacher who enjoyed mysteries. And finally, there was Jake, a high school student who was new to reading and wanted to learn more. One Wednesday, the group gathered around a big wooden table in the middle of the library. Mrs. Thompson smiled at everyone and said,
"This week, we will read a very special book. It's called The Secret Garden."
Emily's eyes lit up. She had heard about the book, but never read it. Jake looked a little unsure. He wasn't sure if he would like it, but he trusted Mrs. Thompson. They all took a copy of the book and promised to read it by next week.
Let's see what we can learn from this story.
Mrs. Thompson said. The next day, everyone began reading the book. Emily was the first to finish. She loved how the garden in the story was hidden, and how the characters found it and made it beautiful again. She thought about her garden at home and how she could plant new flowers. Mr. Brown read the book slowly. He enjoyed learning about the old house and the people who lived there. He liked to imagine what it was like to live in a big old house like that. Sarah read the book during her breaks at school. She found the mystery of the garden exciting. She couldn't wait to find out what would happen next. And Jake, who was new to reading, found it hard at first. But as he read, he started to like the story. He liked the characters and wanted to know what would happen to them. When Wednesday came again, the group met at the library. They were all excited to talk about the book. Mrs. Thompson started the meeting.
So, what did everyone think of The Secret Garden?
She asked. Emily was the first to speak.
I loved it. The story was so beautiful. I want to make my garden at home as nice as the one in the book.
Mr. Brown nodded.
I liked it too. It made me think about how important it is to take care of things, just like the characters took care of the garden.
Sarah smiled.
I enjoyed the mystery. It was fun to see how the characters worked together to bring the garden back to life.
Then it was Jake's turn. He was a little shy, but he spoke up.
At first, I didn't know if I would like it.
He said,
But as I read more, I got really into it. I liked how the characters changed and grew. It was like they became different people by the end.
Everyone smiled at Jake. They were glad he enjoyed the book. Mrs. Thompson nodded.
That's the magic of reading.
She said,
Books can take us to new places and teach us new things. I'm so glad you all enjoyed this book.
They spent the rest of the meeting talking about their favorite parts of the story and what they learned. They laughed, shared their thoughts, and even talked about what they wanted to read next. By the end of the meeting, everyone felt happy and excited about reading. Before they left, Mrs. Thompson gave them the next book to read.
Next week, we'll talk about Charlotte's Web,
she said. Everyone took a copy and promised to read it. As they left the library, Emily, Mr. Brown, Sarah, and Jake all felt excited about their next adventure in reading. Jake walked home with a smile. He was glad he joined the book club. He never thought he would like reading, but now he couldn't wait to start the next book. He felt like he had found something new and special, something that made him happy. And so, every week, the book club met at the library. They read, they talked, and they laughed. They learned new things and shared their love of books with each other. The book club was more than just a place to read. It was a place where friends came together, shared stories, and made memories. And week after week, they continued their journey, finding new adventures in every book they read.